In the wrestling world, the people are represented by two separate but unequally important groups. The wrestlers and bookers, who literally do all the hard work, and the fans, who endlessly nitpick and overanalyze everything they do. These are their stories.
It's Warhorse, and you need to shut your mouth, open your eyes, and clean out your ears, because it's time to listen to the Raw and Order podcast. That's right, they're bringing you the best in all that meaty podcasty goodness in one, what is it, an hour? Two? Who cares? Who gives a shit? You need to listen to it right now, or else Warhorse is gonna, roll your ass!
Welcome to another episode of Raw and Order, the Wrestling Booking Unit, and the Fantasy Booking Institute, because we're kind of playing a double Super Show makeup episode for this weekend. I am your host, Detective Mark Smarks, and I am joined, as always, by my partner in crime fighting, District Attorney Vincent K. What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Obviously, my voice is still struggling a bit, but
Well, I thought you just hit puberty.
well, yeah, again.
That explains that full beard.
Yeah, this full beard.
Luscious, full.
But JLB might be able to join us later. I don't know. We'll find out. But we're in here together. Oh, look at that.
Whoa.
5 months.
We have a
5
short
months.
offer.
What?
5 months. Ooh.
But yeah, that gives us a perfect time to talk about how you can subscribe to get access to this without ads, commercial free. You don't have those loads going on it, but all to support us, right? And you can do that just $5 a month, or if you have Amazon, you can use your Amazon Prime free subscription and do it for $0 a month to help us out. Great way to support. Five. Great way to support us that way. So you can also support us in other ways, like buying our merch, like I have here, like he's got right behind him there. It's
really
all
love
up
the
on
full
our merch
collar
stores.
button-up shirts that we have. Oh, wait.
Yeah, link is in the doobly-doos for that. Totally unrelated to our merch. I don't know if you had seen AEW has a new, it's a limited time thing. You can get a button-up shirt that is MJF's Better Than You pinstripe print. So it's a black shirt with white Better Than Yous in little tiny text to look like pinstripes. But if you get close enough, you can read that says I'm better than you or whatever. It's a limited time thing. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it. I'm not entirely sure they make it up to my size because I'm a big boy. But if they make it in your size, that's a great thing too. But, whatever you want to do, man.
Well, that felt like news right there.
That was kind of news.
Like WBU.
Really quickly here, we do have someone who redeemed a posture check. Redeemed it really early on, so our posture hasn't had a whole lot of time to get all slouch, but go ahead and redeem that there. But yeah, in terms of news, it's kind of weird. Like, we can talk about what happened on AEW and WWE over the last week, but there's not a ton to really talk about. It was the come down week after Royal Rumble, and so everything's all about setting up the Royal Rumble. Sami Zayn and Roman had a confrontation at SmackDown last week. Sami attacked him earlier in the show.
Monday.
Yep, and so there's all of that. Cody on Monday hinted that maybe he'll be facing Sami Zayn at WrestleMania, and then
Pissed all over it on Friday.
yeah. But
Or no, I'm sorry, this Monday he pissed all over it.
yeah. Well, that's the deal. He came out and he says, it looks more and more like I'm gonna be facing Sami Zayn. And then right after that, Paul Heyman came out. And we'll talk a little bit more about the Paul Heyman thing in just a second, because it is one of the newsworthy things of the moment. Other newsworthy topical for today, at least, I'm going to try to keep my own personal feelings out of this because we've talked about it before. But apparently Jerry Lawler had a stroke at his house and is in the hospital and is in not great shape.
You never like to hear about anybody having some unfortunate health
And so,
regardless of how much of a douchebag they've been in their life.
yeah, he apparently has no movement in half of his body. He was found face down in his driveway. So, if you're a Jerry Lawler fan, put your thoughts and prayers together on that. But as for the Roman Reigns Paul Heyman thing, we'll kind of get into that here.
Yeah,
because
that's what we were talking about before we went live.
Right before we went live, we were talking about it a bit. And it comes down to the one thing. The thing that I think we were both kind of talking about is not the Roman Reigns is the son your father wished he had part. Although some people think that was a little too far.
That's part of wrestling.
That's part of wrestling. That's the thing. It's the part that came immediately before that, where Paul Heyman said that Dusty Rhodes had said that Cody was his favorite son. And that's something where, like, you asked me what I thought about it, and I said I can't really say 100% one way or another what I thought about it until we know one thing, which we might not ever know. There might be knowledge that we never get to know.
Dustin's not one to keep quiet about.
He's not one to keep quiet, but he's also not one to 100% spoil kayfabe. Right?
True.
And so, it all comes down to if Dustin was consulted in some way before the show. If they had said before the show in some way, shape, or form, if they'd have said, hey, Dustin, Paulie's going to say this. Are you concerned with this? Do you have an issue with it? And Dustin said, it's showbiz, go for it. Then that's one thing, right? If Dustin was not consulted in advance, or was consulted and specifically said, I would rather you not do that, and then they did it anyways, either of those options.
It's not just Dustin. I don't know if Dusty had any other sons.
I don't think he had any other sons. He had a daughter, but you know what? I will verify that just to be certain.
It ruins a man's legacy when you say things like he was such a. I mean, because to me, what I heard is your dad was such a tool. He had a favorite.
Yeah. Here's the. I know that Dusty Rhodes had multiple wives over the years. Yes. Cody, and it's I guess the thing that some people might not really know for certain. Cody and Dustin Rhodes are half brothers. They had different mothers. Dustin's mother was Sandra, who he was married with for 10 years, from 65 to 75. And Cody's mother is Michelle, who they got married in 78. So they're not from the same mother. They're from different mothers. Same father, of course. Yes. It looks like he had 4 kids. Kristen, Teal, Cody, and Dustin. So I know Teal is female. And I'm just going to make the assumption that Kristen is probably female as well. So, it's still,
And
yeah.
he said son, favorite son. He
Your
didn't
favorite
say
son,
child.
not child, son. It's important. And so Dustin's really the only one to really.
But I think you want to console the whole family about a man's legacy.
Yeah. I do think in terms of legacy, I think they're less worried about that because, frankly, Dusty was carny as fuck, right? He had no problem with doing pretty much anything he had to sell a show, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm worried so much about his legacy. I'm more worried about Dustin's thoughts on it because here's the deal.
A guy who struggled with some I don't want to say mental illness because I don't necessarily think it was mental illness, but some of that coming to life, to feeling that Cody was favored at one point in his career.
Feeling that Cody was favored. Also, just in general, feeling like he had a hard time living up to his father. Like, he was brought in as the heir apparent of the Dusty Rhodes name.
Yep.
He was Dustin Rhodes. He was Dusty Rhodes Jr., effectively. Right?
I loved him in WCW those early years. I really
did. The Natural. So he's always kind of had that. Also, going to WWE and being saddled with the Gold Dust gimmick, right?
I believe he was the one who selected that gimmick.
He may have, I don't know for certain, but in the end, it haunted him in many ways.
Oh yeah,
right?
For years.
It haunted him in the fact that when he left WWE, in 1999, they didn't let him go back to the natural Dustin Rhodes gimmick that he had been there before. They tried to make a knockoff Goldust gimmick, change it a bit because they wanted to make it darker and edgier and not not exactly the same. And they did the whole 7 thing that
Creepy.
it was creepy. It was supposed to be based off the movie Dark City, where there are these characters called the Strangers who kind of float around and all of that stuff, and wear these like long floor length jackets, trench coats, sort of thing. But it looked like a child abductor is what it looked like.
Yeah.
And he struggled with it, and first debut of the actual gimmick, because they did a bunch of vignettes or vignettes, as JLB would say. When he finally debuted it, he literally pulled off the mask and all of the stuff out there and delivered a work shoot promo about how much he hated that gimmick. And so then he went back to WWF and became Goldust again.
Mm-hmm.
And then he left and he went to TNA.
And was 7.
And what did they do? No, 7 was the one it was Black Rain.
Yeah, Black Rain.
Which really, let's be honest, is a knockoff of 7, or a knockoff of 7, a knockoff of Goldust, right? And so it's kind of one of those things where I really think that the Goldust gimmick has been both a blessing and a curse for Dustin, right? And Cody was able to do the one thing that Dustin struggled, right? And that was overcoming a gimmick like that. And Cody did it in a way that Dustin tried to do and failed. And that was in leaving WWE, right? Cody said, I am tired of this Stardust gimmick. I'm tired of always being a second fiddle gimmick. I think I'm better than that. I'm going to go prove it. And he left WWE and he went off and he wrestled in Ring of Honor and he wrestled some in Impact and he wrestled in New Japan and he built his name around not being a knockoff Goldust character. And now he's able to come back to WWE as Cody Rhodes and be this triumphant return. And Dustin, I could see that being kind of a shot to him. You know what I mean? And I know Dustin understands that he's at a point in his career where he's kind of on the tail end, shall we say. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't have a reinvention arc right now. You know? He's at this point where he's kind of in what he's going to be. And so as long as he was okay with it and consulted beforehand, I don't really have that big of a problem with it.
No.
But if he wasn't, that's where I start to go, I got a problem with it. Because as the youngest of three, whose father is passed, I would have a problem if they said, you know, my brother was my dad's favorite son, without already talking to me and saying, hey, I'm going to say this thing. It's going to sound really shitty at first. Understand what it means.
And that said, Heyman is well known for, yes, playing the cards however he may choose to play them, but also respecting the industry a lot and the other people within the industry. So I do think maybe he did, but it's just an ugly set of words, man.
Yeah, when it happened, I was like, I don't know if I would have gone that way.
Yeah, that was my literal first thought was,
opening a pack of cards, I got another box of the Chronicles.
Oh,
the Chronicles of WWE. So I'm going to open them through the course of the show. Starting off, I got a Dominic Mysterio, just a standard base Chronicles.
Old school Dominic, not prison.
Yep, not prison Dom. I have a base level Chronicles X-Pac.
Fun.
And a base level Chronicles Macho Man Randy Savage. It's a real nice one.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good card.
I am really liking these Chronicles as a whole. If only from they've got a good variety of options. Like it's not just like, oh, here's your chase card. It's a Chronicles with red text on it or green text. You know what I mean? First of the chase cards is a Optic SmackDown Charlotte Flair.
Very cool.
Second one, a Black Series NXT 2.0 JC Jane.
Okay.
It's real nice. A Rookie Stars of Julius Creed, one of the Creed brothers. I don't know if this is the one who's just waiting to tear his MCL by doing that cannonball to the outside, but...
I guess I missed that interview where he said, I'm waiting to tear my MCL.
It's going to happen whether he wants it to or not if he keeps doing that cannonball to the outside.
Absolutely.
And then an NXT wrestler who does not, I think, get enough time to shine, but I think is hilarious. Ikumen Jiro.
Oh. Very cool.
So, otherwise, on on Raw this week, we had the return of Carmella.
That's right. I completely forgot it because of the return of Lita.
Yeah, it kind of overshadowed it, didn't it? Return of Carmella. She won the Fatal 4-Way. She will be one of the members in the Elimination Chamber. They confirmed Piper Niven is now back to wrestling under Piper Niven officially. Like it wasn't a one-off for the Royal Rumble or anything. So that's nice. Candice LeRae lost again. Not happy about that, but it's for storyline, so whatever. We had probably my least favorite moment of the night, Chelsea Green losing to Asuka in 2.5 minutes. And it's not the losing to Asuka that really bugs me. It's the 2.5 minutes part that bugs me.
Yeah.
Chelsea is so fucking good. And
she plays a heel exceptionally well.
And I think we need to establish her in front of the WWE audiences. They don't understand how good she is. And I get it. We're building Asuka up as this monster again. But it sure would be nice if we could do that without back-to-back losses by Chelsea Green in a very short period of time.
Well, it was what, 5 minutes or 5 seconds?
5 seconds at the Royal Rumble and 2.5 minutes here. Yeah, the main event, Bayley versus Becky Lynch in the steel cage. Finally settling this. I guess settling this?
I don't know that it is settled.
I don't know if it's settled either. I said finally settling this, and then I thought I don't know if it is. Finally ending the cage match that was supposed to happen 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
Whatever it was, yeah, you're right.
Anyways, and got put off because they went long on a previous thing, and
I watched again just to see where they went long, and I could not find it. Where the hell did they go long?
My biggest problem is it's not so much that they went long on the previous thing, it's that there were a dozen other things in the night that they could have shortened up. Like the 20-minute long DX segment that was mostly just rehashing what they did at DX night.
Only better.
4 months ago. 3 months ago.
It was better than that night because it wasn't. I did enjoy the idea that they didn't pretend that they could, take on Gunther.
That's fine. I had no problem with that part. My problem was it went on forever. They did this whole shoehorn Kurt Angle thing into it. And I just think it could have been a good minute and a half shorter, which would have given a minute and a half more to a cage match. Right? There were a bunch of other things. That was my problem there. But this cage match finally went on. Ended with Io Sky climbing on top of the cage to attack Becky Lynch. And then on the other side, them sliding the crutches in to Bayley so she could use them on... which I don't understand why they had to do a distraction spot for that. If it's a cage match,
yeah, just
they're legal.
Put shit in the ring.
Yeah, throw it in the ring. Do it. Anyways, but then Lita's music hit, and she
proceeded to dance on stage.
Danced on the stage for a bit
before she was going to go out and save somebody,
and then kind of jogged down the ramp.
Yeah. With a smile. I'm going to save my friend.
And it's always nice to see these people back, but God, I wish they would have done something to establish that Lita and Becky
Our pals
were friends beforehand, right?
Even if it was something as simple as the Lita versus Charlotte. Was it Lita and Charlotte a little while ago?
Yeah, not too long ago, something like that.
A couple years ago. Even if it was something as simple as Becky coming out and being like, "I got your back," in a backstage segment for 2 years later, or a year and a half later, or whatever it was. Just saying. That was not. There's been such exceptional storytelling in the road to WrestleMania time. And that one wasn't told well at all.
Yeah.
The lead up to it was, but
well, and
we're gonna attack you real quick and not have the
like. I'm all for them telling a storyline of Lita having Becky Lynch's back and everything. The problem is they had this whole thing where they had it to be a surprise in the middle of the match, and it makes no sense if you're in a cage match and you know you're going to be outnumbered on the outside of the ring. Why would you have the person wait in the back to come out and maybe save you? Why not just bring her out at the beginning? Like, the pop would have been the same if Becky Lynch on her way out to the ring stopped.
Lita.
Yeah, literally stopped, did her thing, came out onto the stage and was like, yeah, and then was like, yeah, wait a moment, and then Lita's music hit, and she goes, you know.
Yeah, I brought a little backup of my own. That was my
and then Lita's on the outside. Yeah, and they do the whole thing. Then the game becomes, can Dakota Kai and Io Sky distract her enough so that one of them can help? It makes the distraction important because now you're not distracting a referee, you're distracting Lita. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it went off the air with Lita and Becky Lynch celebrating in the ring. Send them home happy, I guess. Did you open a pack?
I did.
It sounded like you were.
I did.
It sounded like there was some package opening.
You know what I don't like is that some of these brands don't put their cards in order, and the chase cards are always in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of confusing.
There are some of them, like I know Pokemon. I don't open Pokemon cards ever, but I've watched some people open, and they've got like a set number where the people will open the deck, open the pack, and pull it out, and then go, okay, move the top 3 cards to the bottom, and then that puts the chase card as the last card we look at.
That makes sense. So I have an AEW hanger pack, so it's got a lot of cards in it, so I'll only do like the first 10, and we won't even do chase cards. 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. So I have a AEW Upper Deck Jade Cargill.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Tag Teams Young Bucks. I'm a peep.
Christian for the peeps.
I have probably may not ever see him again on AEW television. Miro.
Who knows? He's got to let his ego go just a little bit, I think.
I have a back from not being on television and us being afraid he wouldn't be back. Mr. Baby Adam Cole.
Adam Cole, baby.
I have a... If there was such a thing as who the fuck is this, but AEW does a really good job of at least featuring somebody once in a blue moon. Lee Johnson. I know he's not entirely who the fuck is this, but in comparison to, say, Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah.
We would... Justin Roberts.
What have they been putting on his lower thirds recently?
What?
They call the Dapper.
Oh. I have leader of House of Black, Malachi Black.
What do they call him?
I have Penelope Ford. Beating up maybe a who the fuck is this? I can't really tell. The outfit made me think Layla Hirsch, but the hair is obviously not Layla Hirsch. So I don't know. And then one of our favorites. Thank you, AEW, for introducing us to a man born wherever with a weight of whatever and a height of, I don't know. Orange Cassidy.
That's right.
Their cards are fun to open. These are the new 22 packs, so that is one plus.
I do like the 22s. What do they call him? They have a thing that comes up under his name. The Dapper Yapper. That's what they call him now. Justin Roberts.
The Dapper Yapper.
Yep, they have it on his Chiron and everything.
So anyway, back to the subject. Well, you want to probably open one of your packs because I forget that you have 6 there or 8 to work with.
Yeah, 7 packs. No, 6 packs. I don't know.
6.
Yeah.
Make it so that people can see them better.
Standard Chronicles Mandy Rose, no longer with the company. Standard Chronicles of Elias's younger brother, Ezekiel. Wonder what happened to him. It's a shame. Had a lot of potential.
I blame Kevin Owens.
You too.
I mean, he had a better run in WWE than Elias did.
He sure did. A SmackDown playoff of Raquel Rodriguez.
I don't understand that playoff.
I'm not sure I get it either.
We don't talk about playoffs. We haven't had a good NFL coach rant recently.
Yeah. Playoffs? I'm just trying to win a game here. You talking about playoffs?
I don't remember what Denny Green's was, but Dennis Green's was really good.
They are who we said they were.
That's what it was. Oh, when you have a cold, you do a really good Dennis Green.
They are who we said they are.
were.
A XR of Shotzi Blackheart. A gold playoffs of Von Wagner doing his absolute best Adam Page impersonation.
Very much so. Yeah.
Yeah. A rookie performance luminance of who the fuck is this? Edris Enofe?
Well, let's hope that it's a rookie card that's worth something someday.
Yeah. And a legacy card. Batista.
Rumored to be in the Hall of Fame. That was a good job of WWE to try and release something to keep him newsworthy for a week or two.
Mm-hmm. Well, and ultimately, the WWE Hall of Fame is always something that we start to get the rumors of around this time.
A little bit early, yep.
But yeah, that's something we can at least talk about. Rumored for the Hall of Fame this year. I think we already had kind of heard Cyndi Lauper was.
Yeah, but who's their feature to that group that JLB shared?
The total group, the feature is probably Batista. It's a big one.
Okay.
Michelle McCool
I'd love to see her be the featured one, so that it's Lita and Becky versus Bayley and Michelle.
I mean, it could be her. That might be why they had her feet in the Royal Rumble, to have her come back for that.
Yeah.
A lot of it with Batista has to do with the same problem they have with The Rock. Does he have,
Stuff in the way.
stuff in the way?
As a featured, he can show up for one night. You just can't wrestle.
But Umaga, definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Like I said, Batista.
Is it Rikishi? You think it's his brother?
Hmm?
You think it'll be his
Who
brother?
does it? Probably Rikishi. I would bet Rikishi's the one who does it. Either that or
Roman.
having like the Usos
Yeah.
do it as
Any
an
member of the Anoa'i family makes sense. You could have The Rock, but... And what a good pop to know that The Rock is going to be at the Hall of Fame ceremony.
Yep. The Midnight Express. And then the final one is Kaiji Muto, which is interesting because as far as I found, Kaiji Muto never wrestled in a WWE ring.
No.
But he did
In
wrestle
WCW.
in WCW, and WWE owns WCW. But so this is at least one case of them inducting someone for their overall career rather than just their WWE career or WWE connection. Like they put Sting in, but Sting at that point
Was in WWE.
had wrestled in WWE. You know what I mean? There are very few people in the WWE Hall of Fame that were
at
not
least stepped into the ring for something.
Yeah.
Even Pete Rose stepped into the ring for something. Granted, it was to take a tombstone,
But I'm just going to look down the list here and try to see. See if there's anyone that jumps out at me that
didn't have WWE time.
Yeah, 22.
I mean,
Undertaker, Vader, Sharmell, all were in WWE. Steiner Brothers. I don't know if Rick ever wrestled in WWE, but Scott did. So, year before, you had Kane, Molly Holly, Eric Bischoff, The Great Khali, Rob Van Dam, Ozzy Osbourne as the Celebrity. And then Legacy, Dick the Bruiser, Pistol, Pez, Watley. The Legacy ones are ones that often don't have. And it could be that that's where they put Kaiji Muto.
could be.
In the Legacy, so. Class of 2020, you had JBL, British Bulldog, and Jushin Thunder Liger, all of them who had matches in WWE. You had the New World Order, which did have matches in WWE.
Yep.
And the Bella Twins.
In particular, those four that they inducted.
2019, you had Honky Tonk Man, Tori Wilson, and Brutus the Barber Beefcake. And all of them had matches in WWE. You had Degeneration X, Harlem Heat. Harlem Heat's a one. Stevie Ray, as far as I know, never wrestled in WWE. But Booker T, of course, did. So that's kind of like the Steiner Brothers. There's a split there.
Well, the Steiners both wrestled in WWE, though.
Did they both?
Yeah, as the Steiners.
I didn't remember Rick ever wrestling in WWE.
Not individually, but as the Steiners, he did.
Did not remember that. But you are correct. 92 to 94. So you are correct there. So yeah, that puts it down to exclusively now Harlem Heat having Stevie Ray, who never wrestled in WWE.
And that could have just been his age. He was considerably older than Booker.
Yeah, but it was, when they bought WWE, but WCW, they could have brought him in and they didn't. Class of 2018, Goldberg, Ivory, Jeff Jarrett, Hillbilly Jim, Mark Henry all had WWE. Dudley Boys all had WWE. Prior to that, 2017, Kurt Angle, Teddy Long, DDP, Beth Phoenix, Ravishing Rick Rude, and the Rock and Roll Express all wrestled at times in WWE.
Yep.
2016, Sting, The Godfather, Big Boss Man, Jacqueline, Stan Hansen. I think Stan Hansen wrestled in WWE back, 70s and early 80s.
Would have been WWWE, but yes, or F.
Yeah. But it still counts. So, 2015, Macho Man Randy Savage, Rikishi, Alundra Blaze, Larry Zbyszko.
I don't think he did.
Yeah, I was clicking on him. Tatsumi Fujinami. And Kevin Nash. Larry Zbyszko. 71 to 81. He was in the WWF when they turned to WWF. So the WWF. And then he went off to... So he wasn't in it for long, though. But he was in it for a stint. And...
That sounds like I don't like Vince.
Yeah, and then Tatsumi Fujinami. He's currently signed on a Legends contract because, of course, they put him in the Hall of Fame. Japanese JWA, New Japan Pro.
Well, I think, no, Inoki had a match there, if I remember right.
I don't see a time in here where Fujinami actually wrestled in WWE, so he's another one to go on that list. 2014, Ultimate Warrior, Jake the Snake Roberts, Lita, Paul Bearer, Carlos Colon Sr., Razor Ramon.
Chico.
Carlos Colon Sr. is another one that... His only appearance for WWE was in 2016, where he was shown in the crowd as Carlito's father. So he falls, I think, would fall into the group of never wrestled for WWE.
Correct.
But here, we're back 10 years almost now. Bruno Sammartino, Foley, Bob Backlund, Trish Stratus, Booker T. All of those people wrestled for WWF.
Correct.
WE, I should say. So yeah, a handful of people over 10 years, the past 10 years, who didn't. So Kaiji Muto might be in Rare Air, or they might put him in the Legends category. And, because none of these that I've been talking about recently were legacies. The legacy ones tend to fall outside the WWE a lot more. So,
yeah.
Anyways, but it's kind of a big deal. I mean, those names, like we said with Umaga, it'll probably be one of the Anoa'i who do the induction. Rikishi's
trips for Batista.
Yeah, trips for Batista. Maybe Ric Flair for Batista. That's another option. They're on better terms with Flair right now. Michelle McCool, there's probably a dozen people that it could be. It could be her husband. It could be, almost any one of the other women's revolution era wrestlers.
It's very easy to make that Beth, in fact.
Yeah.
Kind of there right now.
The Cyndi Lauper one is
do you get Wendy Richter to come back for that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
It's an interesting discussion to have.
Because, I mean, yeah, it's like Wendy Richter would be an option, you know.
But by doing that, you admit that you've messed up and Wendy Richter isn't in the Hall of Fame yet.
That's kind of the the tough thing there.
Because ideally, Cyndi Lauper should be inducting Wendy Richter.
Well, I mean, we talk about ideally. Ideally, Captain Lou Albano would be still alive to induct
Cyndi Lauper. Yes.
Cyndi Lauper, but that is not the option.
And rumor has it that's a little difficult to do.
Yeah. Yeah, Wendy Richter's probably the best choice for it, but
it doesn't mean Stephanie, who created women, won't do it.
yeah. Well, it all depends on how much Stephanie has stepped away from the business, officially. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if she's definitely away. God, it's really tough to say who else it could be, Wendy Richter's probably your best choice, but I don't know if they do it, Kaiji Muto. That's also very tough because you don't have any like WWE names who are really associated directly with him. Like they allowed Shinsuke Nakamura to wrestle in one of his last matches over in All Japan Pro. But all reports kind of suggest it did not end pleasantly for Shinsuke. So I don't think that's going to happen. So that's almost one that you almost have to pull out a Triple H or someone who can do it as a business side, recognizing how much how much he did for the business, sort of a thing. And then Midnight Express, I hate to say it, but it's probably going to be Jim Cornette.
You think Cornette's in good standing with
I think it almost doesn't
doesn't matter.
Yeah. With the Midnight Express, you almost just kind of have to. Like, I guess they could do Jimmy Hart because he was their manager at one point. You could do Paul Heyman because he was their manager at one point. But everyone knows the Midnight Express with Jim Cornette. That's what they think of with him. So. Anyways.
Look at you being willing to eat crow tonight and just the right thing to do, even though I don't want to. Twice now.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you right now.
God. My belly's full from all the pride I swallow.
So, other than that, I don't know that there was a ton of news.
In a total side thing, that line actually is used in a song from the very, very underrated movie starring Andy Samberg, Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping.
Oh, yeah.
Where he plays a former boy band member who's gone on to solo stardom, and he has a song on it called I'm So Humble, and the entire song is him bragging about how humble he is.
Never Stop. I forgot.
It's a vastly underrated movie.
Yes, it is.
It's really good. Anyways, we could talk a little bit about AEW Dynamite. Last week, the main event was Darby Allin versus Samoa Joe for the TNT title. And Samoa Joe won it back. And it was really surprising to me.
Are they just using Joe as like, you can't predict what we're going to do?
Maybe a little bit. From what I read afterwards, Darby needs to take some time off. And so this was their way of writing him off the show for a while. You started off the show with Hangman Adam Page versus Jon Moxley, which was probably the low point for a lot of people. For this reason. It was a good match that ended unfulfilled.
Yes.
Purposefully. Like, that's the story that they're telling. Moxley got the first win. Page got the second win. The third one was not fulfilling for either of them. So now they have to go to a fourth match. I'm going to assume it's going to be a last man standing match or some stipulation like that. That will, there has to be a winner. Because in the end, Moxley technically won this. But, like, afterwards, you could tell he wasn't satisfied with the win. And Page wasn't satisfied with the win. And, like, the whole Blackpool Combat Club had to come out and pull him apart. And, there's going to be another match. And that's where it's all going to come together. Takeshita versus Brian Cage was fun because you got to see Takeshita take on someone who looked like he could eat him. So that was fun. Bryan Danielson versus Timothy Thatcher was everything you could expect it to be. It was a technical clinic, and it was amazing. In the kind of surprise of the night for me, I gotta be honest, having Jade Cargill beat Red Velvet as handily as she did, to go to 50-0, I kind of thought Red Velvet was the one they were building up to be the one who broke the streak.
Well, we've thought that since 6-0. Mm-hmm. It just seemed like those two had such good chemistry in their
yeah. And about the only thing I can hope is that they've got like Chris Statlander just sitting in the wings, back from the injury, just ready to come in and look like a star. The storyline I think they told that I think went really well with the Darby Allin match, though, was that it was Darby Allin's his hubris that really cost him. His desire to constantly do these over-the-top crazy moves.
Suicide dives and
was what...
Tope suicido, sorry.
Yeah, was what cost him the match. Afterwards, you had Wardlow return. So they're going to have Joe versus Wardlow now. Again, not complaining because they put on good matches. Wardlow now with his short hair.
Appreciate that, Wardlow. Long hairs of the world are disappointed in you like smarks, but us short hairs.
Man, it's just hair. This ain't the Bible. He ain't Samson.
Just need to get... Okay. Just need to get it out of the way, bud.
My point is it didn't affect his strength in one way or another. Rampage. We had Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus Ethan Page, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy. It was a trios match. It did all the Young Buck spots. It sold the Ethan Page can't set aside his ego for the victory. He has to always be the one scoring the victory. So every time Isaiah Cassidy or Matt Hardy were about to do what could be the winning move, he would tag himself in to try to do it himself and then get beat. Shane Strickland and Mogul Affiliates, which they still haven't really gone into who the fuck Trench is, beat Brian Pillman Jr. And then they continue to the storyline that they've been developing with Saraya and Tony Storm of them. I guess the storyline they're heels, obviously, but I guess the storyline is they're the invaders, the WWF stars, showing the AEW originals what it's really like to be a wrestler. And so they beat up on the Renegade Twins and then afterwards pulled out spray paint and spray painted L's on both of them. That they're losers. And so the only, like... The only problem I have with it is... Yeah, this is the storyline I was pitching for them to do with the men, right? And I think the reason you almost have to do it with the men is that you don't have that many top tier women who don't have a tie to WWE in some way, right? Like, yeah, you've got Britt Baker, you've got Jamie Hayter, the top tiers. Jade Cargill, but she's in her own feud, so she's not part of this thing.
Yeah, correct.
You know, but then, I mean...
Penelope Ford a top tier woman?
You kind of have to.
You have to drag Penelope Ford in there. You have to drag Nyla Rose, who is a top tier.
Mm-hmm. Chris Statlander coming back can be in that group, right? But then you've got, like, Mercedes Martinez. Well, nope, she had WWE ties, you know.
Ruby Soho. Oh, yeah.
Ruby Soho. I don't know if she had WWE ties. Athena. Nope, she had WWE ties. Serena Deeb. Nope, she had WWE ties. Ty Mello. Nope, she had WWE ties. You know? And so
hers can maybe be played off a little bit. Hers and Anna Jay. But
yeah, you know, and they've started to do it a little bit with Ruby Soho. They shot a thing. I don't know if it was at Rampage or it was something they just uploaded to like Dark or whatever. But where Ruby Soho came in to apologize to Britt Baker for not being there when Saraya and Tony Storm were beating up on them. Sorry, I wasn't there. And they were like, you know, we know where your allegiances lie. And she's like, no, I literally, I don't like those people. You know what I mean? So they're trying to put Ruby Soho as an AEW original, but it's kind of insulting for the fans in my book. You know what I mean? Anyways. It still was a pretty decent show, all told.
I don't know. That's kind of like Stone Cold being a non-WWE person. In the invasion angle.
Exactly.
Which was one of his weaker storylines.
It was, you know, and that's kind of where it's like, yeah, you know, it's like, hey, we're going to take this WWE guy and we're going to give him the ECW championship and say he's now an ECW guy.
Yeah. All right. We done kind of recapping?
I think we're kind of done with the news portion. And so we're going to move into the Fantasy Booking Institute after we get done with those. Give me 1 second, though, because I'm going to do this. Pew, now we're blue.
Oh, changing us to FBI.
Yeah, now we're in FBI mode. All right. Get the blue on.
Brian Pillman Jr.
Ron Pillman Jr.
Nothing wrong with a good mullet, except for everything.
Literally everything.
Jim Ross, good old JR.
Good old JR.
A card I'm saving explicitly for you.
QT Marshall.
I think I'm just getting those too close to my camera.
I think your camera just has a hard time deciding to focus. Looks like you got Ortiz there.
Yeah. We've talked a little bit about him.
Talked a bit about him today. You're correct.
Dustin Rhodes, the natural. A guy who's arguably one of the best in the world right now. Some people would say the best in the world, Pac. Certainly the most cut in the world. It's a tiny Lex Luger right there. And one that I personally should probably keep if I'm going to make you keep the QT Marshall. Butcher and Blade on a tag team card. Garbage.
Necro has a question and comment. Said, did we talk about Wrestling Open, Stardom, Supreme Brett, West Coast Pro 3, Cheers for Sweet Rens, 2 NJPW shows in Hokkaido, ridiculous good quality. Unfortunately, we did not. I just didn't have the time extra to watch that in addition to all of the other stuff and trying to get caught up with NXT and everything. So they all looked like they were probably phenomenal, but I just couldn't get to him. He apparently, Necro, is not a fan of AEW anymore. So
I don't think it's bad. I just think that
like I said, to me, I grew up in WCW, and WCW, AEW feels like the good times in WCW to me, and so it's always going to feel like that. But Necro thinks it's been horrible for months. So, in the end, that's the joy of wrestling is everyone can have their opinions and everyone can find something that they like it. And if you don't like AEW, I understand, and I'm glad you found other things that you do like.
I am preparing for our game.
For our game. Okay, so do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I'll go first because I've been so excited about this all damn day.
Okay.
Dude, I mean, I messaged you at what, 2?
Mm-hmm. Give me 1 second. I got to get my piece of paper.
Do you have your cards?
Okay.
All right. So the question is, does the other person agree with this statement? If you're right, you make me drink one of my delicious drinks. We'll make this a drinking game. If you're wrong, I make you drink, or you drink. Same, vice versa. So I answer the question about you. You answer the question about me. What our thoughts are on these individual statements. Okay.
Okay.
The first statement is the Undertaker should have stayed undefeated at Mania forever. Oh wait, I think you say yes. You think I say no?
I think you say no. I say no.
Oh. Well, we are both incorrect then.
So you think yes?
I think he should have stayed unbeaten forever, and I think he should have taken a retirement match somewhere else.
Yeah.
Preferably Survivor Series.
I'll
drink.
Yeah, I guess we both drink because we were both wrong. I think they made too big of a deal of the undefeated streak in the first place. It wasn't my thing.
That's fair.
So.
Okay.
Also important to note, I do have an anti-Undertaker bias too. I'm not an Undertaker fan.
Oh, that's
so for
true.
me, it's
I should
it's
have
not
known
a thing.
to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Considering the entirety of his career, Roman Reigns is the most improved wrestler of all time.
Entirety of his career. I am going to say you say no.
And I'm going to say you say no.
And you are correct.
I personally believe that Eddie Guerrero is the most improved wrestler of all time through the entirety of his career. That is my humble belief. I believe Roman Reigns was held back by booking.
I think...
Now, I think his on-screen character is the most improved character of all time. But I think as a wrestler, he's not the most improved throughout the entirety of his career. I think that belongs to Eddie Guerrero.
I don't know who I think it belongs to. I just know the thing with Roman Reigns is he's genetically gifted from the start. If you look at his moveset, if you look at his in-ring work, it actually has not changed that much since he debuted. Right?
Yeah. It's the character work.
It's the character work that's improved a lot. I would say in terms of in-ring work, you could make an argument, like at least in WWE, for Alexa Bliss.
That's fair.
Because she came in as a former cheerleader, with absolutely no in-ring experience, and got by on character work alone, and has moved up and up and up in terms of in-ring work. I'm not saying she is at the pinnacle of women's wrestling by any means.
No.
But where she started to where she is now is night and day.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Third statement. If not for the Click, WWE would be part of a different company. Ooh, Necro Eric, hot take. Miz was probably the most improved wrestler in history. It's not a bad call either.
not a bad call. Not for the Click, WWE would part of. I think you are going to say yes.
I think you're going to say yes.
I think you're probably right.
I think if, because Bischoff still would have had the NWO gimmick, and I think if not for HBK and Stone Cold, the matches that those happened, and HBK and Bret Hart, WWE goes. They caused the survival in 94 and 95 when they were really bad.
Yeah. Well, that's
really bad.
In the grand scheme of things, right? We can talk about Stone Cold. We can talk about The Rock. We can talk about, Undertaker and Kane and everything. But the real thing that
the politics of HBK with Bret Hart made Vince
that turned the thing around was that moment, and then the whole DX.
Yes.
Which was a reaction to NWO.
I'll be entirely honest with you. I don't know that they make it through 95 without Kevin Nash. That's how bad 95 was. But I think you agree. So that's cool. We both agree on that one. AEW would still have come into existence, maybe under a different name, but AEW would still have come into existence regardless of Cody Rhodes.
I say no as well. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You don't think they would have? I thought so. I'll take my drink because I was wrong. You are wrong. I think that Tony Khan was enough of a wrestling fan. Now, I don't know that it would be to the level that it's at.
Yeah. Here's the reason I say
But I think Tony Khan would have seen a small company and been like, I think I can do something with this.
I think Tony Khan always wanted to do it, but it was All In that made him go, I think we can. All In exclusively because of Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, for lack of a better term, his ego, saying to Dave Meltzer, I can sell out a 10,000 seat arena. I'll do it.
It's an interesting. See, some of these are fun. All right. The next statement is someone will break Ric Flair and John Cena's record of 16 title reigns in the next 10 years.
I think you are saying no.
I think you're saying no.
I think you are correct.
I am saying yes.
Okay, so
I'm saying it is Charlotte Flair that will break that record.
I just don't know. I mean, maybe. She's the only option, though, in my opinion.
I think you're legit. I think that's the... With Randy Orton getting injured, I think that's the only option to do it in the next 10 years. I think in the next 100 years, somebody will. No ifs, ands, or buts. I think in the next 10, Charlotte's the only choice. So... And both major companies are really big on holding titles for a long time right now. And that's the reason I think Charlotte's the only one who would have an option to pull that off. ECW was GCW with class.
I think you say no.
I think you say yes.
You are wrong.
Okay. My answer would be no. I think there was more to ECW than GCW could ever than just class.
Yeah. The thing, my answer is no, because I don't think ECW had much more class than GCW. I think ECW existed on a hope and a prayer based on Paul Heyman's refusal to obey any copyright laws and his ability to get people to work for him without paying them for months on end, and almost tanked their own business when they invited at the time only known for his Olympic wrestling, Kurt Angle, to a show, and then ran a crucifixion angle on the show, and Kurt Angle, a current all-time great WWE star, walked out and said, "I don't want my name ever associated with this. If you ever say that I was here for this, I'm going to sue." You know what I mean? I don't think they had much class. I think they were the original outlaw mud show. I mean, just the way that they started ECW with legitimately trashing the NWA title in the middle of an NWA ring, saying this title doesn't mean anything. This title means everything.
Less than a year into it.
Yeah. This guy right here did it.
Shane Douglas.
This guy right here.
Yep. So you're saying GCW might have been ECW with class? No, it's not. No.
I think they're about the same.
All right. Speaking of lack of class, I'm going to go ahead and state this next statement. Eddie Guerrero is Dominic's real dad. Obviously, in real life, I think you believe this.
Yeah. But kayfabe storyline-wise?
Kayfabe? Absolutely.
Yeah. That's the story they have to go with.
Well, in
my opinion,
he's a convict now, so why wouldn't he have?
And the thing is,
lie, cheat, and steal?
I really think they're at least hinting at it in storyline. They have him wearing his hair in kind of a proto mullet style, like Eddie. They're having him talk a little bit more stereotypical, lie, cheat, and steal. I think they're leaning in that direction, even if they're not saying it. So,
yeah. Keeping the title on one person for a long time makes it stronger. You already know my answer to that.
Yeah.
And I believe your answer is no to that.
Yep.
I think it helps, but I don't think it's.
I think
I don't think it's the only answer to make the title look good.
Yeah, it's a way to make the title look good. Necro, I'm sorry.
We don't have the hours, man.
We just don't. I mean, I work a full-time job, and on the weekends, it's tough enough for me to find time to watch a WWE show once
That's
a
why
month.
we have you to fill us in, man.
That's why we have you around. You got to fill us in on the stuff, man. Keep us updated on it. Let us know what the good shit is.
All right, my last one. Considering the Attitude Era.
Yes, indeed, we watch AEW.
Yeah, for the 3 hours a week it's
Yeah,
on.
three whole hours.
Dude, you do that in one indie.
Yeah.
Like, you're a stud. We admire you.
Yeah.
We envy you. We don't have the time.
Yep.
Considering the Attitude Era, The Rock would be the most likely WWE champ canceled today.
I am going to guess you're going to say yes. I say no.
Both of us are correct. I would say The Rock would be, because he said, you know, the poutine pie and the objectification of women and, you're probably going to say Edge.
Well, Edge is there, but I got to be honest. Val
Still
Venus
cool.
is.
Oh, but he wasn't a WWE champ.
No, true.
I limited it to WWE champ.
Yeah, you're right.
The most
But
most likely to be canceled ever would be Godfather and Val Venus. Absolutely. Hands down. So, but even Stone Cold, you know, with the...
But along the same lines,
I think Stone Cold would go over better.
I think there's one more.
Rock would.
I think there's one more that we haven't mentioned though. And that's Ric Flair.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, because of his actual real life stuff.
Ultimately, Necro, I just want to comment on this here. And in the end, you know, this is what goes back to what I was saying is it's what I like about wrestling so much is that we can all have varied tastes and we can all enjoy what we do. And I personally enjoy AEW. It's the highlight of my week. And I get that it's not your thing. I have been enjoying what they've been doing, and I know you haven't been. And so I'm happy that you found other ones that you can watch that you can enjoy. But I personally really like a lot of the product that AEW does. And so.
Well, it's constantly changing. I mean, one of the best examples of that is I fought, and I mean fought you, to be the person who did the review, when we did reviews, to be the person who did the reviews of NXT. Because I loved NXT. Man, it's a struggle. Like, still to this day, it's a struggle to want to watch NXT for me.
Yeah. So.
Anyway.
Anyways.
Fun little game.
Okay.
Try and predict each other's opinions. So, your turn.
My turn.
Leave the whole screen.
We have 4 packs here. This game is going to involve these packs.
Oh
or
my
at least
gosh.
it's going to involve one of these packs. I want you to pick a number 1 through 4.
Well, we're going to go with 3 in honor of Ambrosia, who's not here. 21.
Okay. So, I'm opening pack 3. And there are 7 cards in each pack, right? This will be a good pack for you, I think. I am going to challenge you one at a time to pick your favorite moment or match involving one of these the wrestler on the card. Now, there's going to be one here that you're going to pass on. I'm going to give you this pass. Because I know you're going to pass on it.
Okay.
But other than that, I'm going to show these cards, and I need you to tell me your favorite match or moment with this wrestler all time. These, of course, are WWE cards, so they're all going to be associated with WWE in some form. Ready?
Yeah.
First one, Jimmy Uso.
Jimmy Uso, favorite moment. Have to be positive here. When Jay was resisted at first and Jimmy was doing the high five, the special five with Sammy.
Okay.
That's really the most I've been into Jimmy. Jay moves some emotions, but Jimmy just doesn't do it.
I mean, in fairness, that's a good choice. I'm leaving it out there. But you could always have said something like the match, like the New Day versus Usos Hell in a Cell match from 3 years ago or 4 years ago.
There's so many great matches there. Yeah. The one that individually moved me on Jimmy by itself was the fives.
Here's the one I'm going to give you the pass on because I don't know if you can name a single moment of Ivy Niles' career.
I cannot.
So,
she's in Who the Fuck Is This?
Bailey.
The SummerSlam return. Because she brought back Dakota Kai and Io Sky. For you, though, it is the decimation of the Bailey Buddies.
You're probably not wrong there. There's another moment, and it's non-canon, so it might not technically count. But it was from an NXT house show when she was still in NXT, where she came out and she did Finn Balor's entire entrance, and he came out and did her entrance for a mixed match.
That's fun.
But it was non-canon as a house show. So, next one, the Road Dogg, Jesse James.
Individual moment that I like the best. Guitar over the head of Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah. And like I say, individual moment or moment that they were involved in,
Well, I mean, you love the intro, but the one that made Road Dogg was him hitting Jeff Jarrett with the guitar.
Okay. Recently returned, Carmella.
The bunny ears the other night. That's not it, but I did enjoy those. And the new hairdo. I like the new hair color for her. But the moment, the one that I enjoyed the most, her title reign, her first title reign. I think she's had two, but her first title reign, the one where she won because James Ellsworth got to the top of the ladder, and then she won again the next night without James Ellsworth. I love that whole reign. She was as hateable as a heel could be, and she was fantastic at it. She has that voice that just makes you cringe. The Mela is Money was introduced at that time. It was fantastic. If she could capture that lightning in a bottle again, I would definitely take her as a champion again.
Okay. Rikishi.
Stick face on Vince McMahon.
Good choice. Good choice. I'm gonna say from a weird, silly standpoint, the first time he did the dance with Too Cool.
I don't blame you there. That's a really cool one too.
Just the first time.
Because it was resistant, and then he did it, and he knew the moves already.
And then they went to that well too often because it was super popular, and then I lost it. But that very first time when he was... Anyways. And then finally for that pack at least, Kevin Owens.
Specifically the look on his face when Trips hit Seth with the oh my gosh, the pedigree. Specifically that look, like, okay. I don't blame people for enjoying the John Cena call out and beating of John Cena. I do not blame people for enjoying that. But that look on his face was, I didn't expect that. Thank you. And then they ruined it really quick afterwards.
Okay. My favorite is still got to be the Festival of Friendship.
Oh, shit. All the stuff with Jericho was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stick with mine because it's an individual small moment, but I don't... Oh, my God.
The Festival of Friendship, specifically of anything, the moment when Chris Jericho opens the gift and is like, but I already have a list. Wait. Why is my name on this list? And then you can see the back of it says the list of Kevin Owens. So let's do another pack just for fun.
Yeah, that was fun. I like that.
3 more packs to go. 1 through 3.
2. Gotta be in the middle.
I mean, I'm going to open all these packs anyway, so might as well do it for the game.
May as well.
Okay, really quickly run through this. Oh, there's at least... That's a cool card.
I like that you went out and made really big yes-nos. Keep those, because we'll play that again.
This is a good pack, because I don't think you'll have to have a pass for any of these. One of these may have to be a non-WWE specific moment. You might have a pass on that one. So, we're going to start off, though. Umaga.
I enjoyed the bull rope match with Cena. I just didn't like how it was finished with Cena using the bull rope to choke him out with the STF. Bull rope or leather strap or whatever it was. The thing tying the two of them together. It just wasn't the end I wanted. But man, I guess striking Armando Estrada, striking his mouthpiece was good. That's not his best work as a wrestler, though. He was better with his brother in the tag team. Or as Rosie? No, Jamal.
Oh, yeah, he was Jamal. And I was going to say the 3-minute warning enforcers were maybe my favorite.
That's his only indie run. Or on the major circuit, that's his only independent run without a tag team. So,
yeah. Okay. Moving on. Rick Steiner.
Oh, but it's gotta be the promo with Chucky, doesn't it?
You better believe it. You better believe it's the promo with Chucky.
I did like him taking on NWO by himself in the ring at one point, but the promo with Chucky is just incredible. You come out here and say that.
You come down here and say that to my face.
Fucking so stupid. He made the best of a really bad thing.
This is a really cool card, and I think it'll give you a lot to talk about. It is
HBK.
Shawn Michaels
God.
Flux card.
Holy shit. There's so much.
Getting you to just one is going to be the tough one.
I mean, everything from Marty Jannetty to the Iron Man match to the return to Mike Tyson turning on Stone Cold, or turning on him in favor of Stone Cold, to him winning a title when he was never supposed to wrestle ever again, to the matches with The Undertaker, to the retirement match with Ric Flair. Oh my fuck, there's so many. But I've said it once and I'll say it again, and it's hard for you to own the fact that your favorite wrestler is not in your favorite match of all time. And my favorite wrestler, or one of my two favorites, is in my favorite match of all time, and that's the Iron Man match. I cannot express what that did to me as a wrestling fan. That is the moment. I loved the super kick on Diesel at Survivor Series. I hated him so much during that Diesel run. I felt the empathy that he had for him when Sid turned on him. I was such a fucking mark in 94, 95, and I believed everything that was sold by those guys. But man alive, in 97, that Iron Man match is the match of all time. And I'm going to go with the Iron Man match. And I could talk for hours about that man's career.
For me, it's WrestleMania 12, the Iron Man match, but specifically when we're talking moments, it's the zipline entrance.
Oh, really? It's not the tears in the ring holding the title.
Yeah, it's not the tears in the ring. In terms of moments, that was the closest I ever got to being an HBK fan. Like, I was a Bret Hart fan. Keep that in mind. Bret Hart was my man in this feud, right?
Oh, wow.
But seeing HBK ziplining down...
one hand up, one flexing.
Yep,
flexing really
and everything.
On his waist. It's not the hell.
It was really, really tough to not be an HBK fan in that moment, so... but the match as a whole is I've said before, favorite match of all time for me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
The Miz.
My favorite Miz moment of all time. Miz Girl. I was mature enough by this point. I wasn't such a mark that I didn't understand how great his heel work was. That was great heel work when he turned on Randy Orton and Miz Girl happened. When you could make Randy Orton into a face, that's how good a heel you have to be. And two people have done it. Have truly made Randy Orton just 100% face, and that's Triple H and The Miz.
Mm-hmm.
That's how good he is at being a heel. Miz Girl's the one.
Yeah. It's tough for me to really say. Like... You know, I trying as a whole to keep this positive because it's about favorite moments, but it's hard for me to not say for The Miz, the favorite moment of mine was him totally fucking up the Diva search. Even though he had it written down on his hand, you just.
Oh, I mean, there was so much he fucked up in the 90s. What's up, Empire?
What is up? It's a very nice Asuka avatar you've got there.
Absolutely, Oscar for life. We love.
Mm-hmm. I'm happy to see them allowing her to be vicious again. So it's something that she sorely missed on the main roster. She was a monster in NXT, and then she came up to the main roster, and they let the streak last for a little bit, and then they just kind of threw it away. I wouldn't have a problem with Asuka as champion in 2023 at all.
Nope, not in the least.
This is the one you might use your skip on for this pack. Joe Gacy.
Every time he does the crossbody that Bray does. That same exact crossbody. That I love that midsection crossbody. I don't know why.
I feel like they are pushing Asuka like they, maybe not quite like they did Roman, but I feel like they're getting at least close because, I mean, they had her beat Chelsea Green in 2.5 minutes. They're making a big deal about her change of character. So next one up,
This
the phenomenal one, AJ Styles.
This is probably his win over Kurt Angle on TNA for the title.
It could be.
Or all the matches he had with Joe. I mean, If he'd have beat Brock, that would have been the one, but he didn't beat Brock, so.
Excuse me. Ultimately, I don't know if we need a special counsel for Asuka because I think we all agree. Push her to the moon.
Yeah.
To the moon.
But
and then,
that's also a good option for special counsel. Mm-hmm. How weird would it be having her introduced by oh crap, I can't remember his name.
Cameron Grimes. To the moon. Hey, gotta follow. Thanks there, Empire Akira. And for me, when it comes to AJ Styles, there's a lot of them. His run with Bullet Club, just in general, in New Japan and everything. But frankly, that surprise entrance to WWE,
that was pretty cool.
Definitely.
Would have liked it later in the Rumble though. It was number 13 or something like that.
Yeah. And then your final one from this pack, Bianca Belair.
I think the cliche answer is her win over Sasha at Mania in the main event. Saturday night main event.
Mm-hmm.
Not the overall main event. Or no, it was the opener. It was the opener. That said, I'm going to go with... God, there was so much good stuff on NXT. I really enjoyed the feud she had with Asuka when Asuka held the title, kept the title though. But you have to go with the Sasha match. I mean, that's what really made her who she is. And she lost the Asuka feud, so she also lost the Rhea Ripley feud because she never won the title in NXT.
Yeah, I don't know, like you said, it's hard not saying.
Very cliche moment, but it was her WrestleMania moment.
WrestleMania win. I mean, you could argue that her SmackDown women's championship when she first won.
Yeah.
Her first championship could be a really good moment because it was in this case a kind of groundbreaking moment for her. But that WrestleMania moment, it's hard not to
give her that.
Give her that. So, Empire's going all in on Asuka having a long title reign with the women's title. Listen, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. It's time for the Beast to be back there. So what do you say, Fabe? You want to do one more pack?
Let's do one more pack.
Okay, one or two?
One. That way I did 3, 2, and 1.
Okay. You're going to have fun with that one. I think you'll have something good to say about almost all these. It's a really good card. And I don't think you'll have to use a pass for any of them from lack of knowledge, but there might be one that you want to pass on for other reasons. Starting off, Shelton Benjamin.
Intercontinental title win. It was a long time ago, but we all knew he was talented enough to do it. Quite frankly, I think that had they pushed him a little harder, he could have been in the world title picture, not necessarily having won it.
Okay. Cody Rhodes.
Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. God, is it the Cody cutter off the ladder against this guy?
The Sammy Guevara cutter?
Oh.
Maybe.
It's got to be coming back. It's got to be SummerSlam last year. Fuck, it's the cage match. It's the... jeez, it's everything. For him, his best moment was not renewing his contract with WWE. For me, his best moment was coming out, taking off the jacket, and seeing that bruise and going,
that bruise.
Oh my God,
Torn
you're going
pec.
to do... And
You're going to wrestle with that?
18-minute match out of that. In Hell in a Cell. And seeing Seth drive the kendo stick into it. Just... That was the moment that just... It's HBK dangling from the rafters. All of it. Just everything. That's
Who should be the one to dethrone Roman, Cody, or Jay? Empire asks. Of those two, it's definitely Cody. But in reality, you could make an argument that Sami Zayn, right now, that WWE did not expect Sami Zayn's popularity to peak as much as it did. And so you could make an argument there. I still think it's Cody. I think the storyline's been a year in the making of Cody being the one to... Now, what I have said before on this, what I think they really should do is they make the main event at WrestleMania triple threat, 2 falls match. First fall wins the
SmackDown title,
WWE title. Second one wins the Universal title, or vice versa.
Yep.
And at that point, you can put Sammy as the SmackDown title holder and Cody as the Raw title holder. You can separate those titles up again. Roman can have some time off. You can even do it in a way that Roman doesn't actually get pinned. So when he comes back after some time off, he can make the argument, I never lost those. You know, you can have Jay play into him losing.
Absolutely.
Whatever. And then Empire, this question here is probably the easiest question that we've been asked in a long time. It's Asuka. It's Asuka. It's always been Asuka. It's been Asuka for years.
Maybe Charlotte in NXT versus Asuka at her worst booking. Not her fault, just bad booking. Probably not still. It's probably still Asuka. Braun Breaker. Can it be in the future?
Whenever he debuts.
Yeah, when he loses the NXT title, so I know he's going to be on the main roster. I would agree. Asuka is better than Bianca.
Yeah. Bianca's a better face, a better baby face than Asuka. That's part of their problem is they tried to push Asuka as a baby face, and she works better as a heel monster. Yep. So.
Braun Breaker.
I can tell you what is the biggest missed opportunity with Braun Breaker, and that was not having him deliver a promo against Chucky in the ring at Halloween Havoc.
I don't think I'd want to.
I don't think I'd go 1,000 days.
Hands. I am a fan of titles changing hands.
I think
what I don't like about Roman right now. I think the titles need to move more.
I think anything more than a year and a couple months, it actually starts to get old.
Yep.
I
also don't.
And I do not want that to happen at all. No, Roman needs to stay away from NXT right now.
Braun Breaker. It's. God. It's not the win over Ciampa. I really like Ciampa. It's not the win over Joe Gacy. I really like Joe Gacy. Probably his win over Carmelo Hayes. Just because it was such differing. No. No, his match with Ilya Dragunov. That Dragunov match was fantastic. Dragunov is a different style version of Seth Rollins. He makes everybody else around him better. The Ilya Dragunov match with Braun Breaker, when Breaker still won.
Okay.
Should be Braun Breaker right now to answer that question.
Yeah, Braun Breaker.
Liv Morgan.
Here, I'm gonna explain a little bit more why I say it should be Braun Breaker. Right now, the WWE really needs to invest in making new stars.
Yeah.
And Braun Breaker is a new star and will be a new star for the future. Roman can afford to lose. He's already moved to part-time. So he can afford to lose, take it easy on his body for a while, all that stuff. And it would instantly make Braun Breaker look like thing. Why hasn't Wendy Chu left NXT yet? Your guess is as good as mine. Maybe she's just sleeping. She's just napping all the time.
Don't sleep on her, though.
They sleeping on her, that's for certain. The problem is that's up until recently I didn't have any faith on them moving someone from NXT to the main roster. I'm still not sure I have a lot of faith in it. Wendy Chu's character currently in NXT will have a hard time on the main roster, I think. Wendy Chu's character, as she is right now, moving over to AEW, would be fine. It would work just fine. But the main roster for Wendy Chu's current character, and that's, I think, part of the problem is, for the main roster, she'd have to start a whole new character. And starting a whole new character, she starts from scratch on everything. But there's a lot of those characters in NXT that don't work when you present them in the main roster right now, and she's one of them. So
she might be a very, very good. And you have her facing Asuka. I think she'd be a very, very good secondary. Kind of what they did with Boa and oh my gosh, the other person Wendy Chu was the dark character.
Xia Li.
That might work with Asuka a little bit. That type of character where she's the manager and even maybe has supernatural powers, but that's not who Asuka's character is. So anyway, Liv Morgan. Beating Ronda. I loved when she beat Ronda. I think they booked it wrong, but I loved when she beat Ronda.
Yeah. The way they had her beat Ronda was kludgy.
Yep.
Having her beat Ronda. I'm going to say something that some people will...
No, she's two-faced. She's really two-faced.
Yeah. I am going to say Roxanne from NXT is better than AJ Lee.
Yes, but she's too much of a face. She's a natural.
But she is too much of a face, yeah.
Yep.
AJ Lee was basically a mean girl.
Cora Jade
would be more like the reincarnation of AJ Lee.
Exponentially better version of AJ Lee.
In the grand scheme of things, AJ Lee was a product of her time. I seriously think AJ Lee in her prime versus 90% of the women's wrestlers on the WWE roster now would struggle.
She'd struggle to get over. She'd struggle
to get over. She'd struggle to keep up.
In the ring. Yeah. Just that's opinion, but yeah. I agree with you wholeheartedly there. By the way, my favorite Liv Morgan moment is when she slapped Lana. Just so everybody knows. But it's not her best moment. Rowdy Piper. I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm fresh out of bubblegum.
Is there another option? Is there? If they did Asuka versus AJ Lee, Asuka would yes, handily.
Yes. Maybe the Gold Dust match, but there's way better matches that he had early on in his career.
The thing we always have to remember with Hot Rod is he was a brawler type.
Yep.
He was never going to be the technical mastery that you see with the Bret Hart or.
I mean, we loved him calling out people. His mic work is the best work.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's basically what we're saying. Yeah, AJ Lee would struggle if she decided to come back to and I think she knows
AJ Lee is not ready for Asuka.
Exactly. Moving on. This one might be a little tough for you to come up with a moment.
Oh, are you kidding me? It's the win over Benoit, isn't it? Is not his first title run his best? Up on Batista's shoulders. Triple H just the thumbs down. I got it. And 7 million different RKOs out of nowhere. Oh my God! What about the RKOs where people are flying in? You know, the one on Jeff Hardy where he's physically doing the swanton and he catches him. Oh, jeez, I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I said it might be hard. The one on Evan Bourne while he's mid
shooting star press.
Shooting star press.
Oh my God.
What was the one where he was? Didn't he hit like Kofi with one once?
Stupid.
That's what I was gonna say though. For me, Randy Orton moment of them all is stupid. Here's the one I said you might be using your pass on, but not because you don't know him.
Goldberg. Nope. It's the match with Hogan. It's the win over Hogan. I was a like I said, as a teenager, I was a mark and a half. So I ate up all the Goldberg stuff. Really, the first one that it was for me, it's not the best one, but the first one that it was for me was when he put Reese in the jackhammer and successfully did it.
So to answer Empire here, I said she. I don't know. I get thrown off by the avatar. Empire could be a she, he, or a they. I don't know. But Empire asked, what's going on with CM Punk and AEW? He said he was never going to wrestle, and then he went to AEW for a short period of time just to leave wrestling again, and that they heard that Triple H wants him back. CM Punk and WWE is what they've heard. I don't know if I put a lot of credence in any rumors that Triple H wants him back specifically, other than why wouldn't you, right?
You saw how much he sold.
Yeah, in terms of he is a draw. He sells out arenas and sells merchandise like crazy. And so why?
And the risk is very low because if you have to fire him, now he's created a mantra about himself. Yep. So the risk is actually incredibly low if he's a douchebag.
What is going on with CM Punk and AEW? CM Punk has an ego, and AEW was not feeding his ego enough. And there are other egos in AEW. I'm not saying he was entirely to blame here for the thing. There are a lot of egos. You have a group of people in AEW who called themselves the elite, right? That they were the top tier. He heard rumors that the elite were sabotaging his career, his booking, and all that stuff. He also took something that Adam Page said way too serious and shooty.
In kayfabe.
Yeah, Adam Page said it in kayfabe, and CM Punk decided to treat it as if it was real. And all of this went to his head, and his ego got the better of him. And I've said before, if he puts on his big boy pants and apologizes and does all of that stuff, he is absolutely good for the business. But if he doesn't apologize and doesn't put on his big boy pants, then AEW's better off without him right now. I will
answer this question.
Yeah. CM Punk versus the Tribal Chief, that's what I'm saying is if Triple H could get that match, it would be a big selling pay-per-view. I agree. However,
I think the bigger seller would be Cody versus CM Punk.
Cody versus CM Punk could be a big seller too. But they I want to point out, I can't remember who it was on the Royal Rumble red carpet specifically asked Seth Rollins if he would like to see CM Punk back in the WWE at some point. And Seth Rollins specifically said, hell no, keep that cancer away from us. And I don't think that was kayfabe. I think that was 100% shoot. That I don't think Seth Rollins, I don't think a lot of people in the locker room want CM Punk there because they saw what he did to the locker room of AEW.
In no time flat.
Yeah, it took him a year to change that locker room from the all friends wrestling to cutthroat. I just had one more pack to open, so I figured I'd open it and we can
Just do it. Yeah.
go run through it. Maybe together. You're gonna have to use your pass on one of these, I'm sure. Yeah, Punk isn't the same CM Punk from 2012. He hasn't been in AEW. He's definitely, he's older and he was out of wrestling for 10 years, you know?
And he thinks he's transcended the sport. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, there's about 6 people ever who've done that.
So, this one will be hard for you to find a best moment overall.
When he was F5'd by Brock on the table.
Brock
because he
on the
was-
commentary table.
Yeah, because he was sticking up for his teammates. And that was an honorable thing that he did. But as a whole, not a fan.
This one also might be hard because of opinions of him overall.
I don't know.
So I don't think either of us were Honky Tonk Man fans.
No, I wasn't a fan. Probably his long title reign, just the history that goes around him. That's all you kind of gotta give him. Playing him on the video game where there was 8 wrestlers, and he was one of them. He was fun to play.
There was one. I gotta go all the way back here, but I might not even be able to find. There was one. Pretty sure it was a WrestleMania. I'm sure he wasn't the main event, but he came entrance on a giant Cadillac convertible.
Sorry, I'm trying to turn him off. There we go.
Yeah, on a convertible, and he looked like Elvis, and they presented him like Elvis. That's you know.
Real quickly, thoughts on Bray Wyatt. I won't. The best part about Bray Wyatt is we don't know until we get there.
Yeah. I understand you
Which
say
is
you're
what it
sad
should've
that
been
you said
last
the
time.
Fiend is dead and he's never bringing him back. Here's the thing. WWE ruined the Fiend, right?
They did it at Hell in a Cell specifically.
They did it at Hell in a Cell 3 years ago, and he never recovered from it. The Fiend should have been, and frankly, we said it at the time, and the simple fact is, the Fiend as a character should not have been belt motivated, right? The Fiend as a character should have been
Specifically chaos motivated. Or vengeance or wrath motivated.
yeah, should have been exactly all about that.
A toolbox in Hell in a Cell is what happened.
Yep.
But
But
then
then
the
they,
title off Seth, and they shouldn't have taken the title off Seth.
yep. So, Yeah, the Fiend was supposed to be unstoppable, and then they made him stoppable. And yes, it is Vince that ruined the Fiend.
Yes.
You are correct on all of these things.
Vince McMahon had no understanding of that.
But because of that, I agree with Bray saying the Fiend is dead. But the thing is, the Fiend being dead doesn't mean that all of the stuff that came with the Fiend is dead. Right?
The mask is dead.
It means that mask character is dead. But remembering, the Fiend was just Bray Wyatt. Right? He didn't actually even wrestle any different than Bray Wyatt. Right?
Multiple egos.
Yes. The whole character was he had multiple things. And his character now is that he's figured it out. And he's gotten rid of the Fiend itself. And he's figured out all his personalities. And he's now all of them in one. So
he's figured out how to harness the best of them. And that's why he has the Firefly Funhouse still. But it's not the same anymore. You're right.
I personally, and I said this on the things, I hope they keep Alexa Bliss far, far away from it. I know they've been hinting at it. Apparently, though, it's being reported that Alexa Bliss is taking some time off. Reportedly a mental health vacation, some time to just recover. I will point out she did get married not too long ago and didn't have a ton of time off after getting married.
Correct.
And so...
Lucky for Ryan Cabrera.
Yeah, good for him.
Oh, his wife's taking some time off and he's not on tour.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. Like, between Ryan Cabrera and fucking Buddy Murphy, Buddy Murphy snagged Alexa Bliss for years and now is with Rhea Ripley. How is the world fair at all if he's snagging both?
Have you seen Buddy Murphy?
I have indeed, and that goes to my point. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next question. Edge.
Edge, greatest moment for Edge. I really liked the reintroduction of the Brood music, but it wasn't right because Gangrel wasn't there and Christian wasn't there. I'm gonna say Ultimate Opportunist, his first run with Money in the Bank. The second choice on this list would be him attacking Kofi and taking his spot in the Elimination Chamber. Those are the two. It literally defines who the dude is.
Mm-hmm. It's hard not to say his return at Royal Rumble, was it 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
The pop from that.
It just hasn't been the run that we'd hoped it would be.
I'm going to say something weird when it comes to but I mean, bear with me on it. In terms of pure emotion for Edge,
that retirement speech. Just beat Alberto Del Rio, still has the title.
Yeah.
And forgoes it. And really Christian's work after that in honor of him.
Yeah. Really quickly to answer Empire's questions. Can Dean Ambrose come back and challenge Roman? That'd be a good matchup. It's never going to happen. Moxley has made it very, very clear. He made it so clear by signing an extension with AEW when he didn't have to.
That is their longest extension.
It's their longest extension, and he specifically said, I am doing this to make sure there aren't rumors about me going back to WWE. Because if I put off signing this extension even a few weeks, there are going to be those rumors. And
Empire, I'm going to say we were your fan until the last comment. But,
that being said, I don't think WWE needs Dean Ambrose because I don't think WWE truly valued Dean Ambrose.
And I think, more importantly, Dean Ambrose has no need for WWE.
He has shown that. So, and then your last comment, that you want someone to dethrone Gunther because listen, Gunther's supposed to get on your nerves. That's doing heel work. So he's working hard at that. But Gunther...
And I don't mean this mean because I love that you're following us and I love your comments. But that comment gets on my nerves. Gunther, boy, all it takes is one of his slaps, one of his chops to just go, yeah, I like this guy. But I understand where you're at because, he's a dick.
I talked about it earlier on in the show. I'm going to say it again. It's the joy of professional wrestling. There's so much variety that everyone can find things that they like and things that they don't like. And I don't ever try to yuck someone's yum. So, if you, if you like Pete Rosenberg on the commentary before the show, that's fine.
Yes, Gunther is definitely a heel.
Yes, he's 100% a heel. And because of that, he's supposed to get on your nerves. I'm going to show you the next card, but we've already done. But it's a really sweet Black Series Bailey.
Ooh. And for that card, I'm going to give when Bailey destroys the buddies. No.
I am going to show another card because we've already done a Shawn Michaels, but it's a different Shawn Michaels card.
A face Gunther does not work.
Yeah. I got to be honest. This card makes it look like he's got about a dozen little tiny penises hanging out.
Dangling
from the bottom there. So, a face Gunther doesn't work at all.
I don't think it ever works.
I'm going to go ahead and reveal the card that you're going to use a pass on because I don't think you've seen enough Alba Fire matches to say.
I haven't seen enough to enjoy.
Something. And so the final card of the box, Shotzi.
Her Instagram page. Everything she does with Brandy Lorraine. Everything. If I could see more, I would happily do so. No, it's probably the first time she was allowed the tank on the main roster. I don't know. I just enjoy Shotzi a lot, but I don't like her as Agent of Chaos Shotzi. I like her as Ultimate Underdog Shotzi. I'm okay with Brock winning as long as he doesn't stay the champion.
Yeah, here's the deal. I've said this many a time before, and I'll say it again. I have no problem with Brock winning. The problem I have with him is actually a problem that I'm starting to have with Roman Reigns. I do not like part-time champions. Your champion should be at 75% of your shows, right? You can have a time off here and there, but most of the time he should be there, right? And it's with Roman, it's part of Roman being part-time and part of being champion for both shows. It aggravates it there. With Brock, he would be champion, and then you would not see him for months.
And Roman did say that, and that's where he's going. I promise you, it's probably happening in April.
Yeah. And so Brock went a year and appeared like 6 times during the year, 8 times, I did a statistic a few months ago, and Brock Lesnar hadn't had a match on WWE Raw since on Raw. At this time, it was on Raw. He had not had a match on Raw since 2006 or something like that.
No, 2003.
2003, right? Yeah. He showed up on Raw. He occasionally beat someone down on Raw, but he hadn't had a match since 2003. And SmackDown, it was 2006. He hadn't had a match on SmackDown, except for the 6-second win over Kofi 3 years ago.
So to finish up my hanger pack real quick, I had the gold Sammy Guevara.
Yep.
Sammy Guevara. I have a gold coach, Tully Blanchard.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a Purdue canvas of the undefeated Jade Cargill.
That's a nice one.
I have a debut dates for AEW.
That's a good one.
I have a main features, future AEW champion, Ricky Starks. And I have a main features, former AEW champion, future AEW champion.
Hangman Page. That's a good pack. That's a good pack.
Packs are always pretty good. They really are.
So, like I said, we agree in April Roman's done being champion. I know some people want the titles defended individually, so that Roman still be champion on at least one of those. That I think was a more common and popular concept about 4 or 5 months ago. But now with the setup going into WrestleMania, I think it's likely that they're just going to take them both off Roman. Probably in a way that Roman doesn't specifically lose either of them. Like, he does not get pinned, so he can continue to say, I haven't been pinned since.
Or he loses in an incredibly stacked deck.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But either way.
Right now, we're close enough to it that I think they have to do. Mm-hmm. He didn't lose.
Yeah. And yeah, there are Roman fans that are going to do it. Here's the deal: is we've said it before. The internet wrestling community loves to pretend like no one liked Roman Reigns for years.
Live when
you go to a WWE show. When he was hated, when the internet wrestling community
was
like
a heel, but when he was hated as a face.
Saying, oh, people hate Roman Reigns. They're tired of him getting shoved down his throat. But you go to a WWE live event and Roman Reigns' music hit, and the crowd popped like crazy. And that was when everyone said that everyone hates Roman Reigns. He's over as fuck. He always has been. With the actual crowds. And that the problem is the internet wrestling community, and unfortunately I'm part of it with this podcast, right?
Yeah.
But the internet wrestling community likes to feel like they're the only voices out there. But 99% of wrestling fans are not part of the active conversation online. 99% of them watch it and enjoy it.
Particular the casual fan.
Yeah. Like who they like. And don't be a dick. You know what I mean? So,
this is where you'll actually get two different opinions from the two of us.
But, in the end, yeah, we'll talk about that in a sec. In the end, I think Roman's ready to lose. He hasn't been pinned in 2 years, right? And there's a way you can write it where he still doesn't get pinned and loses the belts. And then he can take some time off and then come back from that and say, I was never pinned.
Which gives you the Baron Corbin feud.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the last person to actually pin him?
Yep. Jinder Mahal. Thoughts on Jinder Mahal's WWE title reign? Listen, I didn't hate it. It just came out of nowhere. They did nothing to establish him before it. And he was a stick figure in WWE, and then he went away for a year, and suddenly he comes back, and he's added 80 pounds of muscle and weird pimples on his back. Where did those come from? I don't know.
He changed his soap, bud.
Yeah, man, he's just using a new shampoo.
So, differing from Smarks a little bit on this one, I am a huge fan of that run. If I pull myself away from knowing the things that I know, so in other words, knowing the news parts of it, where Vince was trying to have an Indian wrestler be the champion so they could do a tour in India. If I pull myself away from that, it was not a bad title run. He actually had some pretty good matches on that run. His win over Randy Orton to get the title was actually really well played. Yes, he had some botches, but that's how you test a person's run with the title. And this is why I think we should move them around more. They also had a very viable competitor beat him in AJ Styles and do it because he was not the right guy to face Brock Lesnar. AJ was going to put on a better match with Brock. And that was true. So I think he did very well considering that he's really not a main eventer. But he carried it well.
So I am going to answer this question in a weird roundabout way. Should the Universal title go back to Raw? Empire specifically loved the red belt. Yes and no. They should split them up, and I think the Universal title potentially can go back to Raw, and I think the WWE title can go to SmackDown. That's fine. I don't care which one goes where, right?
Universal should go to Raw because Raw is on NBC Universal.
Yeah,
that's the primary reason.
That makes sense in lots of ways. However, I don't think the Universal title should be the one on Raw. And by that, I mean, I do not think the current WWE Universal title design should be the one that they use.
Yeah, that design. I think we're 12 years since The Rock introduced this concept of title. I'm not going to say this specific title because he didn't introduce this specific title, but this concept of title, and I think it's time to go back to a gold belt that has some detail and intricacies to it.
So I specifically think they should go back to, of course, I think
Winged Eagle and Big Gold Belt. Those are the two.
I would be fine with Winged Eagle and Big Gold, but there's actually another one that I think they use instead of Big Gold, and I'm trying to really quickly find a good picture that I can share of it. Okay, so I think they should go with this. Should be a good enough picture, I think. I think the Universal title should be replaced with
Oh, that's a good choice.
this title.
New logo at the top, obviously.
Yep. That should be the new Universal. Or more specifically, the Universal should be replaced with the Undisputed.
Yeah.
This belt was beautiful, number one. But on top of it, this belt was fucking huge. Right? To keep that in perspective, when Brock Lesnar won this belt, they had to add snaps to it so that he could fit it around his waist. That the snaps that were already on it could not get small enough to fit around his waist.
Jericho never wore it on his waist.
Yep, Jericho wore it over his shoulder all the time. When Brock Lesnar won it, he wanted to wear it on his waist, and it would wrap around, and it would overlap too far. None of the snaps would match up. He could not snap it. Right? So that's what I think they replaced the Universal title with. Bring back the Undisputed Championship, right? Then, the other side of the coin
is the Winged Eagle.
Yep, I'm trying to find a high-res enough picture to
I think they're ugly, yes. I think they emphasize WWE more than they emphasize the champion. And that was the goal. But I don't think it does what Vince wanted it to.
Here we go. The WWE title gets replaced by the classic Winged Eagle. And this is the belt that Cody carries. Because this is the belt that his dad wanted and could not get.
And Cody's the right guy to introduce it, as he introduced the white strap Intercontinental title.
Mm-hmm. And so that's what I do with those. But so I know I missed a ton of stuff here. So anyways, to answer kind of out of thing, Empire asks, do I think the new titles are ugly? No, I think they're dated. I think they represent a style that WWE needs to move past. I do not think they're beautiful. But for me, I personally, like, in terms of WWE title belts, the Winged Eagle is my favorite of all time, right? I think title belts should look like trophies. And the WWE title belt doesn't currently, the Universal or the WWE title, don't look like trophies. They look like advertisement.
The thing I would change about what Smarks just mentioned, I would probably have the color of the strap match the brand, the red and blue. I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that overall. I think
bring back the Divas Championship. No,
I think you run a tough thing. Fans are finicky when it gets to colored straps. We saw that in AEW when they introduced the red colored strap TNT title, and fans hated it, until Brody had it and then passed, and then they retired the red title strap, and now it's been black title. I think if you did a deep red, deeper than even the Jam belt, I think it'd be fine. If you did a deep royal blue, yeah, kind of like that red there, and a deep navy blue.
Yeah,
that's
what I'm referring. Yeah,
for the
dark enough color. That, yes, there's some color there. No, it doesn't detract.
I am fine with that. So, to then
I
go
also
back.
love the IC title the way it is. I agree with her.
Yeah. The new IC title is great. I'm a classicist, and so I really miss the old one. But the new IC title looks fine. It looks great. So I have no problem with it. So should Shinsuke get a world title run? Yes, 5 years ago.
Yeah, they missed the boat.
Yeah,
because they were more worried about him doing great nut shots.
Mm-hmm. They had a ton of times they could have given him the go, and
the build right now would take a year to build.
Yep. He's good enough to do it.
They almost had it with Rick Boogs.
Yep.
And then they both got injured.
Yeah. So, Seth even said, if I had win the Universal title, I want to bring it back to its original brand. Like I said, I don't have a problem with the Universal being on Raw. In the end, it doesn't matter to me which brand has the Universal and which brand has the WWE, because they present them as equal belts. It doesn't really matter. It's just a name. In fact, frankly, I think they should call them the Raw title and the SmackDown title. And then once a year at you can even do it at Survivor Series, you have a grudge match between them to prove the dog in the fine. Empire loves the big gold belt. It's my favorite belt of all time.
My choice to go with the Winged Eagle. I already said it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep.
Yeah. It's my favorite belt of all time. The only reason I didn't bring it up is I think they've gone to that well already before, and I will never see the big gold belt and not think of WCW. right? Regardless of how long it's, frankly, it lasted as long in WWF as it did in WCW, right? In terms of the grand scheme of things, it was in WCW from 93 to when they ended in early 2001. And then it was in WWF from, what was it, 2003 till 2012? Something like that. So, but for me, I will always think of WCW when I think it. That's the only reason I didn't say it. Would they change the design of the big gold belt? I mean, they'll do minor changes. They'll put the WWE Network logo on there. They'll do some changes, but it's one of those things. Just like the winged eagle and even the big eagle, right? There are people who would argue the big eagle should come back instead, and I don't have a problem with that. Winged eagle is my favorite, but I understand the big eagle is bigger, looks more like a big boy belt, sort of a thing. I get it, right? But I don't think you change the designs too much. I think if you change the designs a ton, people notice and people care, right? Should the women go back to the Divas belt? Hell no. No. Should they go to a better belt? I think when they reintroduce if they reintroduce the winged eagle or the big gold or the universal or whatever titles they bring back, if they do that, I think they should make a similar designed one for the women. And I do not think they should size it smaller, at least not significantly smaller.
The only reason to go smaller is so it fits their waist better.
Yes. Excuse me.
I also don't agree with unifying the women's belts.
No. Here's the deal. As long as you have two different shows on two different networks, there should always be two different belts. And so here's the deal. You have two different networks. You run them on two different rosters. The networks want their own champions. The networks want to feel like the big dogs in the thing. You need to have two separate belts. I think there is no reason that WWE doesn't have a women's mid-card belt. They have a women's tag belt. They have women's championship belts. They don't have a women's mid-card belt. They have men's mid-card belts. Why don't they have women's, right?
I would agree.
You think the tag title should go back to black and bronze again? I think they because didn't they split up the tag titles again? There's now separate Raw and SmackDown tag titles, right?
There's blue and red, darker shaded leather.
Yeah. Because they were undisputed for a while together, but they are now split up again. Because you had.
I do like that design though that they have right now for the tag titles.
The tag title, the
Double Trojans.
Yeah, the Double Trojans. I don't hate it. Don't have a problem with it. But yeah, the Usos still have the Raw tag team titles.
As of right now, still have the SmackDown tag team titles.
Want to make sure they still have them. Yeah, they do still have them. So yeah, they haven't split them up. I thought they had split them up, but
I think it's on its way.
I think it's on its way. The same with splitting up the championships. I got to be honest. I think I think a good option to split them up is the rest of Imperium. Have Gunther as the IC champion, and I can't remember what their names are because it was Eichner and Bartel, but now it's Ludwig Kaiser and the other guy. Anyways, have them as SmackDown champions. You got a bunch of options on Raw that you could do. Or you could have the Usos continue to be it. I think what's going to happen is the Usos are going to lose it because Jay is no longer part of the bloodline. But I think
that's a very temporary tease to him and Jimmy breaking up.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to break up. I think it costs them the belt.
Yeah.
I think it costs them the belt. Frankly, what I think happens is this is where the bloodline kind of, at least temporarily, implodes. Jimmy has to make a choice. Does he stay with Roman or does he join his brother? Solo. I got to be honest. I think what's likely going to happen is Solo becomes Roman Reigns' enforcer, and anyone who thinks twice about him gets thrown out. And I think what's going to happen is Jimmy and Jay lose the tag titles, and then Jimmy is forced out to join Jay because his loyalties are split. He's no longer 100% in, but
I don't think the bloodline chapter is over. I think draped in gold bloodline is over.
Well, here's the deal: with the concept of Roman taking some time off, you could have an implosion of the bloodline, and then when Roman returns, you can build him back up again. That's possible to do. But also, as part of the thing, if Roman's going to take some time off and recuperate, you kind of have to move the bloodline on in some way. Bloodline doesn't exist without Roman there, right? It just doesn't. It doesn't work. We could probably continue talking with Empire about this all night. We could talk about the face paint Usos and all of that stuff. We've been going for 2.5 hours, and both of us have to work in the morning. And as you can hear from my voice, I'm still recovering from my cold. So I think this is where we wrap things up for the podcast tonight, unless D.A. Fabe has something else he wants to talk about. I think my voice is about to go out on me, so.
Your voice is still beautiful, baby girl. It's all right.
Aw, you know I love you. No, we're not going to be live tomorrow. Our typical schedule is Sunday nights and Tuesday nights. We missed Sunday this week for sickness reasons, illnesses and stuff. So the next time we currently plan to be live again would be Sunday night, starting at 10:30 Central, as per our normal schedule. It's going to be interesting going live Sunday night because it's Super Bowl Sunday. The Superb Owl. And while I'm not a huge football fan by any means, I will likely be watching the Superb Owl. And hopefully it's all over. But yeah, thanks for joining us. We hope to be going live maybe some more often. I do occasionally stream video games on here. So if you enjoy watching, I'm not great at them. I'm not great, but I've been playing Elder Scrolls Skyrim occasionally, and then I recently decided that I'm gonna start a replay of Fable. So if you like those types of games, you might be able to catch me streaming those at times. And then I was gonna bring up to DA Fabe the potential to do a watch along for a show that I don't know. I know for a fact that neither of us have watched from beginning to end in at least 4 years. But in reality, I don't know if either of us watched it beginning to end, even when it was new. But I did just find out that some wonderful saint uploaded the whole thing from beginning to end onto YouTube, and it somehow or another still exists. And that show I'm talking about is the one that started it all. It is All In. And 3.5 hours, a watch along of it. Now the rules with watch along is we're not going to be playing it on here for copyright reasons and everything. We will provide the link to the stream in the chat and whatever, and we'll give you ideas about our timing as it goes, so you can watch along with, and you can comment, and you can hear our comments on them. We haven't figured out a time. We got to talk to JLB, our other host, about finding a time that works for him. Empire says they will be streaming some WWE 2K22, making some dream matchups. And so I enjoy that. I've got WWE 2K15. Somewhere here I might be streaming some of that. I'm not good at the modern wrestling games. The last wrestling game I was good at was WCW versus NWO World Tour on the Nintendo 64. So, but I'll struggle through it. I'm looking forward to the AEW show. Looks like we lost DA Fabe for a bit. I wonder if we're going to get him back. Anyways, is Impact good wrestling show still? Impact actually can be very entertaining. The problem that Impact runs into is production. It does not have the same budget that a WWE or an AEW even has. And so it can sometimes feel a little bit backyard wrestling, but they got some very, very good wrestlers on there, and they put on some really good shows. So I highly recommend catching it if you can. It is Thursday nights. And so I agree here. DK is great. I am a big fan of Crazy Steve. I love Crazy Steve. The fact that he's like legally blind and still does the shit that he does blows my mind. So Rosemary's great too. I got nothing against Rosemary whatsoever. But no, here's just got a message. He's having some internet problems. We'll see if he comes back in here at all. Rosemary and Asuka would be a fun duo. Rosemary and Abaddon in AEW would be a lot of fun too. So, but in the end, I'm happy for them in Impact Wrestling. They do a lot of fun stuff there. Here we go. He clicked as I clicked. So, he's back just in time for us to say goodbye. I could talk about Impact being a good show for quite a while and all the fun stuff that it has. But like I said, we kind of have to go. Just keep an eye on the channel. We'll be streaming some games. We'll be streaming some other stuff here over the course of the next few weeks, and we'll be back on Sunday to talk wrestling, to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. I saw that you said you're going to be probably cheering for the Chiefs because your parents love the Chiefs. Since you are a new follower, you aren't aware. We are located both in Nebraska. Our other host is from up in Canada, so he doesn't give a crap about which team really. But so because we're in Nebraska, we are obligated to probably root for the Chiefs. Because that is the closest team for us here. And it's a big deal when the Chiefs win around here. I personally, when it comes to NFL football, I'm a Houston Texans fan. And that means I apparently really like pain. Because they have been not good for a long time.
Yeah, this is the last year our teams play for a while. I'm sorry that my Dolphins can't beat your Pitt Texans for a while, but
it's okay. It's okay. We split with the Jaguars this year, so we were not good. But we did sign a really great head coach, I think, to be our new head coach after 1 year with Lovie Smith. Didn't think Lovie was a good choice at the time, so but we got him coming in.
Made for his Bears job. It just seems like.
I think defensive-minded head coaches always struggle unless they can find a really high-quality offensive coordinator.
That's right. Legit.
And Lovie Smith always, at the Bears, had a series of high-quality OCs. At the Texans, he did not. And the only downside, you're an Aints fan? Fun fact, I lived in New Orleans for a year. And that convinced me I couldn't be an Aints fan because the owner, Tom Benson, is a dick. Anyways.
From personal experience, did you have to wait on him at some point?
I did not have to wait on him. Here's the long and the short story. This was 2001 when I lived down there. In 2000, the Aints made it to the playoffs for the first time in 40 years at that time. They had been horrible for a long time. And then they had a decent season. I importantly point out, decent season. They made it to the playoffs, but they lost in the divisional round. Not the conference, divisional. And then the next year, Tom Benson came to the city of New Orleans and said, "You need to build us a new stadium. That stadium that we play in, the New Orleans Superdome, is crappy, and it's not the caliber fitting of our team. And if you don't agree to build us a new stadium, we are going to move the Saints to Biloxi." Now, first of all, that's fucking insane. Move to Biloxi.
There's such a good population base. It's smaller than Omaha.
It's fucking tight. Like, might as well say we're going to move it to Omaha. You'd probably have a better shot at success there. Anyways, but he held it over them for months and eventually got them to agree to investigate building a new stadium, but first invest a bunch of money in upgrades to the Superdome. Now, here's the thing. Do you know where the Super Bowl was being held after the 2001 season? If you guessed the New Orleans Superdome, you are correct. The Superdome was good enough for the biggest game of the year. It's good enough for your team that's had one decent season out of the last 40. Right? Now, since then, the Saints have gone on to have a run of quite a few good seasons and been really good. You know what's interesting? They're still playing in the Superdome. Right? Do you know why? Because with upgrades, the Superdome is still a premier caliber stadium. It doesn't need replaced. And so, but on top of that, Ricky Williams, this was during one of the seasons Ricky Williams played for the New Orleans Saints. He valet parked his Ferrari at the hotel that I worked at down in New Orleans. And when you valet park, right, you're putting your car's livelihood legitimately in the hands of the person parking it. And you get paid millions of dollars to play a game, right? You'd think you would tip the valets, right? No. He had a contract with the hotel to park it there. He paid the hotel that money. He never tipped a single valet, not even $1, to park his Ferrari in their hotel parking. He's a dick. Anyways, it's a long and the short story. It's mostly long there, but I again,
short story long.
Yeah, so make a short story long. If you want to be a Saints fan, that's fine. You can be. I mean, I can't throw stones. Really, I already mentioned I'm a Houston Texans fan, right?
And I'm sure there's dicks within that organization.
Literally, I am in the middle of a giant glass house right now. So I can't really throw these stones right now. That being said, I will point out that the number one all-time player for the Houston Texans was Andre Johnson, a player who didn't even celebrate after touchdowns. He just handed the ball back to the ref and went back to play the game. And every year at Christmas time would invite literally like 20 foster kids to the local Toys R Us toy store and give them 30 minutes to run through the store and fill up their carts, and he paid for it. And J.J. Watt then is the probably second GOAT for the Texans, and he also has a long history of being just a super, super nice guy. And they very specifically did not bring in players that had histories of not being so nice guys. So, but again, the Texans really bad this year. Do you know what they were also bad at? They were bad at being bad enough to get the number one pick in the draft. They had to win that last game of the season to give, I think it's Chicago, the number one pick in the draft. First of all, I'm going to say I can't give any thoughts on the San Antonio Spurs.
Huge Tim Duncan fan.
I don't follow NBA at all. Basketball's not my game, and so I can't really do it. I can, however, give thoughts on this that DA Fabe can also go. It's not fun living in San Antonio because we don't got an NFL team or an MLB team or an NHL team, but we got an NBA team. Try living anywhere in Nebraska where we don't have an NFL team or an MLB team or an NHL team or an NBA team. We've got college football, and that's about it.
We also have the College World Series in baseball, so
yes.
We do have that going for us.
Yes, college ball is all we got here, right? And specifically, we have one major college football team. We have one major college basketball team.
We have two. Creighton counts.
Barely.
Right now, barely, but in the past, they counted a lot more.
So yes, Empire, be thankful that you at least have an NBA team. And you also live in a state that has multiple NFL teams, multiple NBA teams.
We're closer to an NFL game than Empire is. As we are only 5 hours or 4 hours from Kansas City, and Empire is probably 5 or 4 hours from Dallas.
Except for college football, the only football team that we got in Nebraska was a B squad arena football league. And by that I mean this league feeds to the regular arena football leagues, because it is. You
ever gone to a beef game?
I have not yet.
It's really entertaining.
Because the Omaha Beef, they are currently in the Champions Indoor Football League. There also was the
that one over in Iowa. Yeah, my college quarterback played for him.
No, there was for a short period of time a arena football team in Grand Island.
Diesel.
The Diesel.
But I think that was actually in. Oh no, there was The Tri-City Diesel was in Kearney.
Yeah, the Tri-City Diesel was Kearney.
Grand Island had a different one. I'm trying to remember what
Storm,
that was.
Storm Chasers, no. Give me 1 second. I don't know how long it's been.
I had a friend that was a cheerleader for him. I can't remember that. Nebraska.
Nebraska Danger.
Danger, that's what it was.
I think they might. They ended in 2019.
I think they ended up selling.
No. They wanted to sell because they were owned by the Bosselman family. Bosselman announced they were looking to sell the team, but no owner was found.
Oh.
Nobody wanted to but let's see.
Multi-time league champion Nebraska Danger.
Mm-hmm. So, anyways. Yeah, so they're going to have the XFL football team, which, of course, is owned by The Rock. So you might get... Here's the deal, is XFL was fun to watch. It brought some interesting things to the game. But anyways, I said about 20 minutes ago that I was going to wrap things up here, and then my ADD brain got distracted by Empire. So I'm not going to look at the chat anymore, Empire. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully we'll see you in a future stream, whether it's the Sunday one or if we do a video game stream or something here in the future. In the near future, but hopefully we'll see you back soon. I would like to thank anyone who has joined us on this, watching along, whatever, for joining us. If you are watching us on the replay on either Twitch or YouTube, make sure to leave a comment below to let us know you were here. Like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on twitch.tv/RawandOrderWBU. You can also subscribe to us there, especially if you've got Amazon Prime, because it's totally free for you. But otherwise, it's just $5 to subscribe. Gets you access to all the emotes and stuff like that. But also, importantly, supports us. That's a big thing. But you can also support us. It's popped up in the chat a few times here, but you can go to our merch stores. We got a couple of them. You can find the links on our info page for them both, but one of them's a Stream Elements and one of them's a Spreadshirt page. You can go to either one to buy some merch, help you out. If you're going to a wrestling show, a great piece of merch, it's right behind DA Fabe right there. It comes not filled out. It's an autograph shirt, but it's perfect for getting autographs signed by wrestlers. If you're going to an indie show or a meet and greet or anything like that, get a bunch of things there. Make an absolute personalized souvenir for you there. That's on our Spreadshirt store. We also just launched a few weeks ago our newest shirt on the Stream Elements store. I brought it up the other day, but I'm going to bring it up again so everyone knows. If you are tired of being told you like professional wrestling, you know that's fake, right? You
Worst
can get
back color ever.
Yeah.
There you
Gotta
go.
change it to there. You can get a your favorite movie is fake shirt. Let them know there that their favorite movie is also fake, and so they should shut their pie holes.
Yeah.
But so I'm also working on just a more generic Raw and Order shirt if you just want to support us that way without some weird catchy catchphrase on it or whatever there. But do that. Again, the best way to support us is to share this with your friends. Let them know, that you like this, that they should watch it there. Gift them a sub if you're a subscriber and you want them to see it here. Great things there. But other than that, we're going to go ahead and close the book on both the Wrestling Booking Unit and the Fantasy Booking Institute today. Thank you all for joining us. We will see you soon.
Deuces.